Have you ever felt like you were just kind of sitting in the back seat of your own life? No steering wheel, no pedals, just kind of on the ride, not really in control? Well, that's exactly how I felt for the longest time. For years, I waited for my life to change. I waited until I had more money, more motivation, until work got easier, until life really slowed down. Then one day, I started to realize it. Nobody was coming to save me. And it's the same for everyone. And I don't mean it in a way to be all doomy and gloomy or anything. I more so mean it in a way that that's just kind of the reality of things. It's almost like it's the trap that's made for us to fall into. You know, you wait around thinking that motivation is going to come to you, tomorrow is going to happen for you, the next paycheck's going to be the perfect one or the amount that you really need, or the timing is just going to be set right just whenever you think it should. And that's not the case. You kind of just have to make things work with what they are and then create those things out of what you can provide for yourself and the world around you. And the only person that you can believe in is yourself. So waiting around became my comfort zone, and I don't think it really should be for anybody. You almost have to make yourself do the hard things or go through the hard decisions so that good things come later. That's exactly where I've been taking my life, and that's exactly what I wanted to talk about today. And I really want to focus it in on some things that were kind of wake up calls for me. And I'm not talking about things that just happened out of random. I mean things that really kind of overloaded my ability and the capacity of taking care of what I needed to and, going out of my own way to make things work out for me. I mean, I've worked plenty of jobs that left me exhausted, and of course, being diagnosed with diabetes, especially in the way that I did, like I talked about in my recent video, I realized that I had to take ownership of my own health every single day, especially with learning the ins and outs of having to take insulin and count my carbohydrates. It really taught me a lesson in life, and that's that I have to really worry about me and I have to take care of me because no one else is going to do it. I don't have a nanny that's going to be able to stab me with my insulin or count out the carbs for me. I have to do that on my own, especially with making the decisions that I've made in the past few years, like quitting weed. That was a huge thing for me. I was constantly in the battle of having to fight with my transgressions and always worry about what was going on around me and basically trying to let it happen instead of forcing myself into the habit and breaking the old habit that I was stuck in. And that was smoking every day, constantly making myself lazier and almost hazy minded constantly, hoping that it would get better, and it never did. So I just basically jumped out of that boat and forced myself to do it. And that's almost like how most of my bad habits have formed and also been stopped, is the exact same way, is just doing it. And that can come and go and say that's not for everybody, but for me, at least it worked. And the same goes for investing. People always say that they'll invest later when they have more money, or that they'll invest whenever they feel like they're going to have the timing right in the market. And honestly, that never happens. You're not going to be able to perfectly time the market. If you could, then so many people would be so much richer in these days because they would know exactly when it goes up and exactly when it goes down. Sure, there are some people that can read the market or predict it in close or relevant ways where it makes sense, but you're not always going to be 100% on that. That's why I started investing, even if I didn't have much money. It helped me a lot. And just like making these YouTube videos, it's been helping me a ton. It makes me feel like I'm actually speaking my mind, and it even feels like I'm helping other people that are dealing with some of the same problems that I've gone through. And that truly is a blessing. And I can't thank any of that enough. But the whole point of it is that no one's going to make any of these changes for you, and no one made them for me either. You almost have to force yourself to do it. And that's going to be hard, but it's going to be worth it in the true end. I mean, you can't always think that it's going to be easy. Responsibility isn't going to feel easy. It's going to feel like you have a heavy burden on your shoulders at first, but eventually you'll get used to it. Just like going to the gym. You're not always going to be able to just load up the 245s on each side of the bench and then just throw that 225 back and forth across your chest. That's just not going to happen. But over time, you start building the strength and building the muscle to be able to deal with the heavier and heavier weight. And that goes to say with life too. Once you deal with difficult things and have hard conversations, you slowly get better at them. That's just how it goes. When you work your muscle, your mind, and your brain, you start to form better habits and better control of the things that are around you as well as yourself. And responsibility shouldn't feel like it's some sort of punishment. It felt unfair for me at first too. I didn't feel like I was bettering myself when I quit weed or quit nicotine or started going to the gym. I felt that sore feeling all the time until I started getting used to it. And then I started craving it. And it also gave me something I didn't have before: control. And after realizing that I was in control, I started seeing all the things that I really was able to change and make better for me. And that gave me a freedom of ownership in my life. Instead of saying things like, my job is ruining my life or I hate my job, I'd ask myself, what can I control today and what can I do about it? And instead of saying things like, I don't have enough money, that's how I got into investing, was how can I improve my financial future one step at a time? Even if it's just a few dollars every day or $20 a week or anything that I can put forward for later that I can build slowly over time. I'm not going to sit here and deny real obstacles. I'm going to shift my focus to what is within my control and what I can do for the better of my future. Sure, one choice may not change everything or even make any sort of change at all, but over time, one choice turns into two, turns into four, six, and so on. These things compound, and these small wins that do that slowly turn into big wins. That one workout might not make your muscles grow, but 100 workouts definitely will. That one investment might not grow your portfolio very much, if at all, but 100 of them definitely will. One video isn't going to make you popular on YouTube or get you the goals that you're looking for, but 100 of them might. And just like everything else, healthy meals, difficult conversations, trying to make the decision to not smoke differently about the world. Even in the reverse, if you only smoke once, you're not a stoner. You just tried it before. If you smoke all the time, you might be. And I was in that position too. But now I can consider it that I don't smoke. I even tell my doctor, I don't smoke. And it's just like the decisions you make every day that compound, that truly make you who you are. And what I've really learned from it is that the life that I wanted wasn't built in one decision. It was built in 1,000 of the small ones. It's almost like death of 1,000 cuts that works in the opposite as well. And I don't mean any of this to sort of discourage anybody. I mean it in the sense of no one's coming to save you, and that's not meant to be bad. It's meant to remind you that your future is still in your hands. You're in full control, just in the job that you do, the decisions that you make, the habits that you formed. They're all in your hands. Sure, some people might have been dealt a bad deck of cards or a bad hand, but that doesn't mean that you have to keep it. Why don't you just yell at the guy and say, hit, keep on going. Go for a different ride. Maybe you can change your life in that way. But the day that I accepted that was the day that I finally started building a life that I wanted. So instead of waiting for the perfect time to arrive at your destination, why don't you go to the destination yourself and then tell them when you arrived? Because that's the only thing you can do. You have to take the reins and actually tell the horses where to go. They're not going to know exactly where to take you. That's exactly what I've been doing on my entire journey of life from the past 2 years, and it really has changed everything for me. I went from being constantly overstoked and overtoked on all these different drugs and all this sort of party lifestyles that didn't fit who I am, and it changed me internally and externally. And I'm glad that I made the difference because now I constantly go to the gym. I make more money at my job. I've been making better choices. I feel healthier. That's exactly what the end goal is. You can't expect life to be perfect for you, but you can make the decisions to make it better. And I wish just as much as the next guy that you could just go through a paywall and fix all these things with just a little bit of money or something. But unfortunately and fortunately, that's not how things are. And it truly does make you a better person whenever you go to the gym or you take care of yourself. Not only is that something that other people are going to see as a great thing, but you're going to feel it too. You're going to feel healthier, you're going to feel more like yourself, and you're going to be able to express yourself better too. And that's exactly what I've been trying to build myself on as well. And it's constantly a work of cycle. It's almost like you're working on that project car, but that project car is never done. And that's kind of how you have to see it. You have to constantly be working on yourself in a way that you're not really going for a finish line. What you're going for is the perfection that you can make it in of yourself. How can you be the best version of you by only making those decisions on your own? That's something that I had to learn just like everybody else does too. Some people never understand it, and some people get really good at it. Me, I'm just personally learning it and trying to master it to the best of my ability. And I'm going to be honest with it. I'm not going to tell myself that I'm great at something when I'm obviously not, or when I don't understand it. Because it's really hard to be perfect or a master at something that you don't even understand how it works. Even with this YouTube stuff, I'm still learning and I'm still trying to come up with different concepts and different topics every single day and every week to get a video out to you guys that hopefully resonates with you or is something that I just need to get off my chest. And I really do appreciate all the love and support you guys have been showing to me lately. It's really awesome to see things growing and building a community that has a sort of relative feeling with the way that I think, and it really is awesome. Thank you guys so much. And if you do like all of this content that I've been putting out, go ahead and leave a like, comment, subscribe. Maybe you can give a little bit of insight on how you feel about these sort of topics, or if you have any ideas on something that you might want to hear me talk about. And I'm constantly trying to build a better version of me, and hopefully you can do the same for yourself too. I really do hope that if anyone is feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or waiting for your life to change, know that you're not alone. That boat isn't already gone. There's so many other people that are ready to sail too, and everyone's waiting to take that step. Everyone has to prepare themselves at the same time. Whether that takes you days, months, years, it doesn't matter, just as long as you actually take the strides. You have to think of it like this. Life isn't always going to be hard, but it's not going to always be easy either. You have to find that medium difficulty and get really good at it. And it doesn't feel like it's medium anymore. Things start to build up over time of compounding, making things easier so that you actually feel like you're living life on easy mode. And whenever you start actually getting to that end game, you start to feel like you've made it, and then you continue building more and more because that compounded interest that you're making in on life is going to benefit you forever in your life. And just know that not every hero story is going to be all up. I don't think there is a single successful hero that only had a way up. That's why Marvel's so good at making these stories. You get to fight every trial and tribulation that these guys have with them. That's what makes a good movie. There's always going to be the climb, there's always going to be the downfall. But what matters is the climax that makes everything come together and spins it all as one. And I don't mean that in a Spider-Man reference, but that movie is coming out, and I hope it's going to be really good. And maybe I'll even make some reviews or something on it in the future, who knows. But I'm always trying to find new content that I can put out to you guys, or different conversations or topics that's going to be relative to this. So if you do have any comments, suggestions, or anything of that nature, I would really, really appreciate it because it's not always easy doing this, but it is something that I constantly want to work on. So if you do, like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one.